the fleet manager of that era was a lot more sophisticated in a sense, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but they had much more responsibilities than the fleet managers of today. I mean, they ordered their own cars, they spec'd their cars, they bought the tires, they, dealt with remarketing vehicles. In fact, at that time, no fleet management companies or fleet leasing companies, and you really didn't get into this evolution into fleet management until we got into the late 70s, 80s. And I know some may disagree with me, but a lot of those fleet managers of that era did everything. They were, they were the fleet managers I really loved to talk to because, they really knew it from soup to nuts, as they say. And, when they got to retire, their management said, well, who's going to replace Joe? And invariably, this was a time before you had Microsoft Office and so on. You had secretaries, admins, and so on. And but they knew the business. They learned the business by working with the fleet manager that was present there. Invariably, these admin were female. So a lot of the females that absorbed these fleet manager positions and major corporations entered our industry succeeding the fleet manager who left, and they knew it. They knew the industry. And they learned it in the trenches. They learned it on the job, and were very proficient. Some of the great fleet managers of that era were women. But, those were the changes that happened. And I think a real milestone occurred was the creation of the Women in Fleet Management group. And, who really deserves credit. In fact, she won and was inducted in the Fleet Hall of Fame because of her work there, was Carolyn Edwards.
Oh, yeah.
And Carolyn at that time was working for LeasePlan. And LeasePlan had set up this management training type program where people were partnered up with managers from different departments. And she was partnered up with the manager who was the head of IT, who was also a woman. And, they had gotten together, they were having lunch and talking about, their respective industries. And the lady who was the head of IT was, the mentor. So, she said, well, what is your group of women in fleet talk about? I mean, we have a women in IT fleet, and it's true in all kinds of different industries, but no such thing existed. And that's when Carol said, well, we have nothing like that. And that's where the inspiration came to create that Women in Fleet. And I remember getting that early call from her saying, what do you think of this idea? And I thought it was fabulous. And we helped, developing the first logo for them, which I think is still in existence. They're still using that. But, she got it off the ground, ended up getting a core group of women fleet managers to work with her on developing this. And it just took off from there.